All right. How you guys doing today? This is Tristan Barrocks here, the digital storyteller, and I'm super excited to be with you once again for another live stream Monday. But this live stream Monday is a kind of it's kind of an anomaly. It's actually a little bit different because it's Tuesday today. And for those of you that had an opportunity to see my video yesterday that I streamed, I was stuck in the airport in Miami because my flight from Jamaica got bumped, got canceled by WestJet, and a whole bunch of other stuff happened. But that being said, we are jumping right into another live stream Monday, just on a Tuesday for today, because of obvious reasons. I'm excited to be on another live stream. I've been thinking about all of you guys. I've been thinking about ways to kind of engage you in different meaningful ways. I've been thinking about ways to really give you great information, and also to kind of listen to some of your feedback as well. You guys have given me some really great ideas to chew on, and I'm really excited about implementing some of those changes. But that being said, what's going on with you? If you're in the chat, if you're watching the stream live, just type in where you're watching the stream from. If you're not watching the stream live, just type in #replay, #where you're from, and let's get this party started. One of the things I want to kind of touch on right away, actually, as our first sort of order of business, is talking a little bit about, let me just jump over here, about my upcoming event, photo walk that's happening. So we're doing a photo video walk in downtown Toronto in an area called the Distillery District. The Distillery, is it Distillery District? No, Liberty Village. Wow, there's so many great communities. We're going to have a photo video walk in Liberty Village. Now, for those of you that don't know where Liberty Village is, but you live in and around the GTA, Liberty Village is on the west side of downtown. So once you're approaching the downtown core, you'd come off at like Jarvis, and you kind of make your way around Queen and Jarvis, I think it is, somewhere. Maybe not as far as Jarvis, but it would be like Queen and I forgot that one street that's there. It's like right before, it's just north of Exhibition Place. But you can get all the directions and the exact address where we're meeting up on the Eventbrite page, which I have here for you guys. I also have information with regards to how to reserve. So all you have to do is literally, if you want to purchase your ticket, you're just going to click on the ticket button, and then it's $7 to join us. And I will be having a model, as well as I'm going to be bringing some of my lighting equipment just to kind of showcase some of the things that you can use in order to enhance your photography skills. Just that little bit more to be better at digital storytelling, to be better at photography, to be better at video. So if you are interested, please make sure to register, because if you don't register, then you can't be a part of it, right? You can't just show up, because you won't know where to go. You don't know where we're going, what we're doing, and all the other stuff. So make sure you do that, and I'm sure that you will have a great time. Hey, what's up, Denz? How you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Big up to Denz. Let me just say hi to Denzel. He's a cool dude. Okay, the next thing we're gonna jump into is let me just jump over here, is to my Patreon account. Now, first of all, I would like to thank the amazing individuals that have already subscribed to my Patreon options, and I guess my Patreon memberships. There have been a few people that have inquired about it, and a few people that have actually taken advantage of it. What Patreon is, simply put, and what I'm using Patreon for, is a way to get more out of the relationship between me and you. So for those of you that are watching, wherever you're watching from, I want to do more for you and for the community. And I know that there are people that, are fine with the live streams and the free videos I create and all that sort of stuff. But then there's other people that want to actually take this to the next level in terms of their career, in terms of becoming a digital storyteller. And I really do believe that I I have the information and the tools to be able to give you what you need to prepare yourself in any capacity in terms of being able to build a business, a brand around digital storytelling. That being said, Patreon, these Patreon tiers are for different levels of support. So the first level is pretty straightforward. It is the digital supporter, which is $2 a month, and it's just, just to kind of keep things like this going. If you like what I'm teaching you, if you like what I'm showing you, and the conversations and topics that we're having together on a week by week basis, and the videos I'm creating, and even the photo walks I'm doing, all of those different things, then you are just supporting on that level, and that's great, and I'm thankful for that, and I really appreciate that. The next level is a $5 level, which is the digital believer private community. So essentially what that is a private Facebook community, but as well as some of the perks that you get is you also get 5-minute meetings with me per month, and that's just digital meetings, and you also get access to a few questions, to ask a few questions to me. So you have up to, I believe, 3 questions, and that could be gear related, that could be technique related, business related, or approach related. It's really up to you. But the great thing about this is that it's kind of the best of both worlds. You only pay about $5 a month, which is not really anything at all, but you're getting some support where you need it, when you need it. And then the last one is personal digital storyteller. Now with that tier, that is $10 a month, and that actually gets you a whole lot of different things. I actually give you or gift you all of my digital products thus far. So that's the LUTs, that's any filters I've created, my digital storytellers starter kit, booklet, all of those sort of things, so that you can get going and jump right in to the fundamentals of what you need to become a dope digital storyteller in your own right. But beyond that, it's also an opportunity to be able to have conversations with a litany of people on a one-on-one basis for me. So it's not just about, being in a Facebook group. That's great. But then there's a lot of times, a lot of people can be in Facebook groups, or people aren't comfortable with asking questions on Facebook groups or in public spaces. So this allows you to have a one-on-one conversation with me, up to 20 minutes per month, as well as up to 5 questions. And then I also help you out in terms of helping you set up business ideas and strategies and stuff like that. So it's simple, it's easy. There's 3 tiers. I might be working on a 4th sort of very specialized one, but I really think that this is a great start. And I do want to thank those that have become members. I appreciate the support. I do all this because I believe in it. I love what I do, and I love supporting the community. So thank you so much. All right, next up is, for those of you that don't know or are not familiar with how we do things for live streams, I get my questions from 2 places. I get my questions from Instagram DMs and Facebook sometimes, and from this form right here, which is at Tristan Barrocks. Let me just pull this up properly here. So you type in tristanbarrocks.com/questions, tristanbarrocks.com/questions or .ca, and then you just fill out this form really quickly. It just I just want to get your contact information so we can stay in contact, and then you can ask whatever question you want, and depending on how great your question is in relationship to what we're focusing on for the day, your question may be the one that's the featured question of the day, or you may be in subsequent videos, depending on the content that we're creating together. So if you have questions that are specific to gear, or if you want my opinion on certain topics, like maybe how to market to a different type of clientele, or should I invest in a digital or virtual assistant, or any of those sort of things, those are all questions that I am down to answer. But I can't guarantee that I'll answer it on the corresponding show, because it just all depends on the volume of questions I get, and I want to actually showcase and share the most crucial or the most popular questions, and the ones that I feel that will speak to the masses in terms of people getting the most quality out of it, or the most information out of it. So now that we have those out of the way, wow, so much stuff to talk about. Let's just jump into the next slide here. Oh, yes, one last thing here. So I wanted to show you CloudSpot. So CloudSpot, this is not sponsored or anything else, but I'm actually going to show you what I use CloudSpot for. But essentially what it is it's a website for photographers, for digital creators. It's a cloud-based service. You can upload all your photos up there. There's, at least I have the unlimited package. There is a limited package to 25 or 30 gigs, and then like another tier which is unlimited. I have the unlimited package, and it allows me to create custom web app galleries. Allows me to create online galleries for my clients when I'm delivering photos for real estate photos or wedding photos or live events, anything like that. They can download it independently, meaning my clients, and I don't have to necessarily micromanage it at all. Once I put it up in the cloud, it's there. As long as I have an internet connection, I can access it mobilely or through a desktop. So this is a really cool website, and the reason why I'm telling you about it outside of me using it is because I think they have a deal right now where it's you can get any tier of service for $3 a month, which is actually pretty dope, to be honest with you. It's probably one of the single best services I've ever used for my business. It's made my business a hell of a lot easier to manage. So I would definitely encourage you to check that out. Let's see what you guys are saying here for a minute here. Oh, yes. So Denzel, I'll throw this up here. I'll throw this up over here. So Denzel was saying that, are these videos as well? No, they are not videos as well. So it's only for photography, but it's good. It's still great. I can show you kind of how the gallery looks, and I could talk a little bit about. I was gonna actually end off with the photos from the wedding, but I'll show you the photos from the wedding based on showing you the actual photography gallery system for CloudSpot. But let me see what else you're saying here. Oh, for CloudSpot, you're just clarifying. Yeah, so everything that I'm showing you here, this is all CloudSpot. If I scroll down a little bit, this is what the mobile application looks like. It's really, really cool. And then, it takes a percentage. You can actually set up a store. So if you want to get prints done, you can set up a print store there. This is just an example of how the galleries are. Again, the galleries look like this. So I'm actually going to jump into Leroy and Stephanie. So this past weekend, I went to Jamaica, last Thursday, I should say. And I just got back yesterday, late last night, actually really early this morning. And I always love putting together sneak peeks. So the couple's name is Leroy and Stephanie. They're a beautiful couple, lovely couple. And we were in a villa, in several villas, and we were in Jamaica taking photos and video. Myself and my team. Big ups to Arthur, who's an amazing creative, and was so graciously able to come with me to this assignment, and we were able to really take care of the clients in an amazing way. So let me just jump over to the gallery here. Now this is the gallery. This is how the gallery looks. So I can change the look of the gallery. I'm not going to go into the back end, but the gallery doesn't have to look like this. You can make the background gray or black instead of white. You can obviously change the titling, change the headers. You can customize it quite a bit. But this is how it looks here right now. These are some of the pictures. And if I wanted to, actually, I'll just put my cursor on this picture here. So by default, you can either go to this cloud icon, which will allow you to download the photo right away, or you can go to this arrow here, which will allow you to share it on social media. And then if you look down at the bottom, there's a little emblem. That's the emblem of my wedding company, Felicity Moments. And this is actually a really nice feature because of the fact that this is a sneak peek. So sneak peek is something that you usually send to a client within, I would say, some people send it within the first week. I like sending it within the first 48 hours, right after the event. And when I'm doing that, a lot of times, clients get really, really excited and they want to share stuff on social and they may forget to credit you or whatever else. So that's when I just kind of, when I send out the gallery to them, I can actually check off a little option button that says, "Hey, you can actually add your logo at the bottom as a watermark." So then that way the client doesn't have to worry about anything. You're good to go because you know already that you're going to get the credit that you deserve, and then it's not something that's going over the whole thing. It's just a nice little small emblem in the corner. But let's look at some of these photos here. These were all shot on the A7, the Sony A7 III. You already know. I've been a big proponent of the Sony A7 Mark III. Just to kind of show you what the Mark III looks like, I'm just going to jump back here for a minute. So this is what the A7 Mark III looks like. Now I have this ugly adapter, Sigma MC11, but this is pretty small. As you can see, I have a cage on mine, and that's just because for video purposes, I like having a lot of different anchor points or a lot of different mounting points, and these cheese plates, or these, not even cheese plates, but these cheese cages give me that flexibility. So if I don't have it, it's kind of hard for me to it's just hard for me to really function, because I want to add, like, friction arms, or I want to add a mic on here, shotgun mic, or I want to add other accessories, or even attach this in different ways that make sense for the content that I'm creating. So that's sort of why I use it in that capacity. But not only that, I really like a lot of the features I've spoken about this over and over and over again, of the A7 Mark III. Small form factor, dual card slots, the clarity and sharpness and the colors are great. Are they Canon colors? No, but as you can see, what I did was I actually did some tweaking. I actually like this shot here. Maybe the greens and the blues are a little bit too poppy, but I kind of like that, especially when I'm doing destination weddings where it's really it's really sunny outside, or it's really tropical. You kind of want to give that tropical vibe. That was a black and white, but the richness of the colors pop out. I actually did a little bit of tweaking. I might do a video on how I tweaked my Sony colors in body, so that it was closer to that Canon kind of look. Her skin here is not perfect, but I wanted to kind of get out a shot of her, so I'm still tweaking some of the skin tones. But in terms of just the overall look, I like the look of these shots so far. This was actually at the reception. I was using my Godox 600 BM, and then I also had over here, what is it called, a speed light, just a small, on-camera speed light that was actually the slave to my main light, which was my Godox 600, and then I put a little light shaper on there, so a little mag mod on there that hit them and kind of created that little spotlight. Now the other thing I did also is I stole somebody, so they had everybody light up flares to give a certain look, which is cool. But then so I just took a flare from somebody. I said, "Hey, can I take this flare?" And then I used this sort of effect I learned from SLR Lounge, where you put the flare like right in front, or the sparkler right in front of the glass of the camera or of the lens, and it creates this sort of interesting look. So it's pretty dope. What are you guys saying here? Sorry, Denzel, I see you saying something. Oh, you can't see it. Okay, let me jump back into here. I'll go back to the very beginning here so you can see. Can you see it now? Let me know if you can see it now. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Can you see? All right, so I think that was fixed there. So like I was saying before, these are some of the shots that I got in Jamaica, and one of the things I was trying to do with, I was shooting. I wish I had the images already logged up or loaded up, but I was shooting with the A7 Mark III, and I was just like, man, like I don't want to do as much work as I normally do in post with the skin tones and things of that nature and the colors. Um, so I actually did some testing while I began shooting, and one of the things I realized was that I had a lot of like green and a lot of magenta um, in my and even a little bit of cyan in my image, and that's just normally how Sony's go. They're more to the greenish, coolish side, greenish red sort of magenta side. So I actually pulled up everything in the color balance, and I changed it to make it more warmer. And there's a custom setting that you can do. I'll probably show that on another video. But anyways, I digress. That actually helped me out in terms of getting to a point in my images where I could edit without it being too crazy, or it taking too much time for me to get to the place that I want to get to in terms of the look. This was a nice shot again. I'll show you. Sorry, the shot I was talking about before with the sparklers. So this shot with the sparklers was a really interesting shot. Again, like I was saying before, I had a speed light on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, I had a Godox 600, and the Godox 600 was kind of filling out the room and the people, and then the speed light just gave a nice sort of highlight, highlight rim light to the actual subjects. And then you just let the expression happen, right? Like you're trying to capture the movement of a moment. That's nice. The movement of a moment. You're not really trying to get the perfect shot in the sense of perfectly constructed and lit. You actually want to get the energy, and that's why I really like this shot, is because it gets the energy and the excitement of their first dance together. But that being said, what really kind of makes it stand out even more and makes it kind of seem like you're in the crowd is that like I was telling you before, I stole a sparkler from one of the guests, and I didn't bring it back to them, unfortunately, because I was just trying to get shots, and I put the sparkler in front of the lens, and this was one of the sort of patterns that was created, so that was kind of cool. These are some of the details, and all of the outdoor shots. I was shooting just natural light, not because I didn't want to use strobe, but because of the timing of everything. I didn't have an assistant with me. I just had myself, and I had to kind of make an executive decision in terms of what I wanted to get done and how fast I wanted to get it completed without missing other shots. So I just decided to go natural light for a lot of these shots. These are just some details here that I did. Again, these are all Sony A7 Mark III shots, A7 Mark III. I'm big on, I may have to, I really edited these pretty quickly, but I know I need to crop this in slightly more so then they're right in line or in focus. But one of the things that as a photographer, and specifically I like to do, is I really like to capture candid moments and moments of happiness and intense happiness and joy, because felicity actually means a moment of intense happiness and joy. So my brand is around happy moments, right? And your wedding is one of the most important and most happy moments of your life. It should be. And anytime that I'm creating images or capturing moments for my clients, I really want to capture these types of moments, the essence of like everybody, really smiling, laughing, having fun. And a part of that, this is not fake. They were actually laughing. They were actually really excited. They weren't faking this, but it took a while to get to this place because I had to build trust, and they had to trust me enough that I wasn't going to make a fool of them, but I was going to allow them to look as cool and as sharp and as happy as possible. This is probably my favorite shot of the day. It was right at golden hour, and we wanted to get this type of shot This is actually by a cliff. So where they had the actual ceremony, it was like the backdrop of the ceremony was a cliff to the ocean. It was beautiful, and but it was really a bright day, and we wanted to kind of wait until the evening to be able to really pull out some of those yellows and those golds to get that golden hour. So I just told them, hey, listen, walk back, like in the back sort of rough patch areas, and walk towards me, and just be in the moment. And these are this is one of the shots that came out of it. I love it. There's some more shots to come that I haven't edited yet that are great. I love them. This is this is an interesting shot. So it's not perfect again. I gotta get the oh my gosh, the flower girl out of the picture. I'll probably like do some editing on that. But I like this shot because again, this shot just kind of shows me like it's just vibe. It's just like, you know, you're in Jamaica. They are a Jamaican couple, a Jamaican Canadian couple, and you know everybody here is of West Indian descent. So you know there's a little bit of bossiness, you know, when it comes to Jamaicans and when it comes to, you know, culture, the dancehall culture, and being a proud West Indian. And I want to kind of show that. I want to kind of show, you know, we're in Jamaica. It's beautiful here. We're on the beach. We're having fun. We're dressed nice. We're eating great food. The weather's great. Let's just take a picture as the bridal party and just have fun. So that's what this shot was. And then right after that, I did a few more shots with the bride and the groom. This is probably one of my favorite shots because it's just so intimate. It's quiet, and the bokeh is tremendous. I love it. Even there's just this little hair. I mean, I was thinking of just taking it away, but I kind of feel like it's almost like a whimsical kind of, you know, they're just in the moment. They're on the beach. It's relaxed. They just want to be at one with each other. So I kind of left it there. But the interesting thing about this shot is I shot it with the, again, the A7 Mark III, but then I used the 50 millimeter 1.8. So it's just a little cheapy, nifty 50. For those of you that don't know, I'll jump back to here for a minute. It's just this nifty 50, which is about $200. and I used this lens. I love this lens to grab that shot. So that was actually really dope. I really liked the fact I was able to get such a quality shot with such a cheap lens. Let me go here now. Oh, and then last there was like a little tree here. I turned this into a little black and white shot, but there was a little tree just outside the reception hall area, the reception tent, and it was kind of nice. It had some lights on it, and we had a couple more sparklers. So I decided to grab a sparkler and just kind of do that effect again. And then when I put it in black and white and added a little bit of a glow effect, it almost gave me this sort of like dreamy Hollywood type of vibe. So I said, you know what, let me go with it. I like it. So those are some of the shots that I got in Jamaica. Those are really just the kind of the sneak peeks. Would love to know what your thoughts are. If you have any questions about any specific shots that you see here, let me just go back to this. Any specific shots that you see here that you're wondering how I got, or you know, what lenses I used, or anything like that. All of these pictures were edited not in Lightroom, not in Photoshop, but actually in Luminar. Luminar is a program I picked up in last November. I picked it up, and the thing I love about Luminar is a program that allows you to do really high-end photography editing without having to have high-end skill. So even with the retouching, if I go back to the retouching on their faces for the intimate shot on the beach, let me just go back to here. So all of this sort of like, there's certain subtle things I added in there. I added in a face light. So her face wasn't actually this bright, but Luminar allowed me to brighten it up with its AI, its smart tracking of a face. also, if I was able to zoom in, a lot of their skin is not obviously this smooth, but Luminar with its AI retouching allows you to kind of smooth out the skin, but then keep the pores and keep some of that texture, the nice fine texture of the skin there. So Luminar is a great program. It's a bit slow. I'm going to be doing a review on it with regards to why I use it, the pros and the cons. But one of the things that's really cool is that you can actually replace skies. So if I go scroll back up here, you can actually change the sky. So one of the things I'm going to be working on with a couple of the shots that the sky, where the sky is blown out, is I'm going to try and test that out and see how good it works. But Luminar is really good. Like it's a really good program. It works relatively well. The one thing I noticed is that it is a little slow. It does lag a bit, and it can quit at times, especially if you have too many photos or too many high resolution photos within the program. So those are just things, I think, bugs that they're trying to fix. But yeah, Luminar was the program I used. It was really cool. The last thing I'm going to kind of talk about, and let me just see what you guys are saying here. Oh, thanks, Bart. The color yeah, the colors look great. Yeah, you know what? I was really pleasantly surprised with how the colors came out. To be honest with you, let me just jump back here again. I was really pleasantly surprised with the colors, and the reason why I was pleasantly surprised was because, I mean, Sony always has this reputation for being not the greatest in terms of when you take the picture, and the colors being like really warm and really nice like Canon. But again, first of all, let's just kind of like deconstruct that. 95% of us, if not 99% of us that take a raw photo or that take photos in general, we shoot raw. And even if we don't shoot raw, we shoot it in a way where we have enough autonomy to change the color palettes or the color tones or the versatility of how the colors look in the image. So I don't really get why people are so hung up on like, oh, well, the color science, Canon's color science. It doesn't matter what Canon's color science is anyways, because you don't use that. You don't use any sort of image right out the camera. You actually take the picture and then you still do work on the picture. So that's not even anything but a fallacy there. But that being said, there are ways to kind of tweak it to tweak your Sony, your Sony cam, so that it can get to a specific place that you want to get to in terms of the image, the type of look of image that you want. So even for me, I don't love how all these turned out. I edited these on my laptop, and my laptop has a glossy screen, and it's not necessarily the greatest for colors and color correction. It is a Mac, but it's sometimes it's a little off. But for the most part, it was already at the place that it needed to be. So I really just did the tweaking that I wanted to do, just to kind of give it that richness. And most people are going to see it on, their phones here, and it's not really going to make a difference. Now for print, I definitely have to be, or you and I have to be more intentional about how print is going to look, and how the colors are going to look in print, I should say. So that's when it becomes one of those things where you have to make sure you know what you're doing, and you have your colors right, because your colors can be totally off. You can look at an image on your screen, and then when you print it, it'll look totally different. So you want to make sure that you calibrate your screen. What else are you guys saying here? Let me just jump over here. Oh, so colors look great. Is it cloud-based? Is what cloud-based? I don't know what you mean by that, Bart. Can you just elaborate a little bit more in the comments? Are you talking about Luminar? Is Luminar cloud-based? The Luminar software? If you're talking about Luminar software, I don't think it's cloud-based. Okay, Luminar, yeah. So Luminar is not cloud-based, at least from what I understand. You can definitely check to see, but I haven't really seen anything that I'm just looking on their website right now. Let me actually jump you guys back in there. So this is their website here. It doesn't really show anything about cloud management. It's just more of a application, if anything. So that being said, I'm just gonna close off with two things. So obviously the Oscars happened 2 nights ago. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But before I talk about that, I want to also talk about um, just some of the people always have questions in terms of like, when you travel, what do you travel with, Tristan, or what's your gear list, or how do you get destination weddings, or how do you prepare for a destination wedding? So I just want to talk a little bit about my destination wedding experience, what I did this past wedding, this past weekend, this past wedding. I don't know if that makes sense, but you get what I'm saying. So one of the things that I wanted to really focus on in terms of this wedding was, number one, it was my first wedding this year, both for video photography and everything else. By the way, I'm going to drink something because I'm thirsty. And if you're ever in Jamaica, drink True Juice, the juice of champions. They are authentic. They are a juice company that makes authentic Jamaican juice that you won't be able to buy in North America ever. Anyways, I digress. So when I was going into this wedding, my focus was really on a few things. I hadn't shot photo or video for a wedding for over almost 3 months now. The last wedding I shot was last November, and it was cool. It was nice. But you get kind of rusty sometimes, right? So one of the things I wanted to do was kind of just get myself slowly into the mindset of being able to capture, a wedding, and not just capture a wedding, but then capture Leroy and Stephanie's wedding. And what I mean by that is Leroy and Stephanie are not like any other couple because they're unique. They're unique people. So the approach that I might have taken with one wedding, I can't necessarily just automatically think that it's going to work with everybody's wedding. Because I'm really about celebrating each and every person's love in a unique way. That being said, there are certain principles and certain rules to adhere to be great at this art form called photography. So one of the things I really wanted to do was I wanted to, number one, travel light, which I think I did pretty well. I only had four lenses. Four lenses? One, two. I had the 28, the 50, the 28 millimeter, the 50 millimeter, the 85, the 24 to 105, and the 70 to 200. So I had five lenses. The 28, I didn't even really use at all. I was going to use it more as a wide angle lens for, sort of like widescape shots, but I didn't really need to do that. So I didn't end up using it. I also wanted to do a little bit of vlogging, and I just didn't have time to do that vlogging. So I only really need to bring four lenses. Brought those four lenses, used those four lenses in different capacities, and it worked really well. I brought my Pro Mist filter. For those of you that don't know what the Pro Mist filter is, just DM me. I mean, I'll send you a link. I think every cinematographer, every photographer should have and use Pro Mist filters. Especially for people of color. But then after packing light, I also wanted to make sure that I had the right equipment for lighting different situations. So I just recently purchased a new video light, which I'm using right now. It was like $200 and it's 60 watts. It rivals the 120D that I own. And it's a LED spotlight. So I brought that for video. Just in case of anything. It's super light. It's really, really small. I can't wait to do my review on it because I think it's one of my new favorite lights. There are some quirky things to it. It's not perfect, but for the price, it's really, really great. Actually, do I have the bag here? Let me see if I have... Oh, the bag's over there. I'm not going to grab the bag now. But the other thing I wanted to do, too, was I wanted to make sure that I was in the headspace where I was available whenever needed to capture moments for the client. And I think a lot of times, we as creatives sometimes look at destination assignments as exciting times to travel and to do different things. But at the end of the day, we're providing a service for our clients, and we get paid well. We get perks of, living, getting flown out to different places and living in fancy places. We had a maid and we had a butler and all this stuff at the villa. And ultimately, it's because our clients value who we are and what we bring to the table. And and our gift to them and our duty to them is to provide a high level of service, and to be available for them. So my approach really was like, the main thing is the main thing, which is the wedding. But I also wanted to make sure that I could capture other main things that were important to the clients. So they had a wedding, a little rehearsal dinner the night before. We did a day after shoot, or a day after shoot. We did different, just small things that added value to the experience for our clients. And I think if you can leverage giving just a little bit more to your clients, that will allow your clients to become evangelists for your business. And that's a really important thing. But the other thing was, because there was only one cinematographer and one photographer, we really had to make executive decisions about what we could get versus what we couldn't get. Now, we had a drone, I had lights, I had all this other stuff. And some of the gear, maybe I would say 20%, maybe even less, 15% of the gear we didn't use. Now, some people would say, well, that's a waste of time, waste of, traveling with all that gear, and probably, could have got damaged, blah, 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 stolen. Yeah, but you have to understand that when you're planning, you also plan for unexpected things. We may have had time to use some of that equipment. It just so happened that we didn't have time to use it. So, but it was important enough to bring, just in case we want to get that one amazing shot, or that, second amazing shot. The other, and I wouldn't even say the other thing, really is the last thing I would say about this trip was, and it's not just this trip, it's really my approach when it comes to all weddings, but specifically destination weddings. People are flying you out. Be aware of the surroundings and try and create epic shots. Not every shot has to be epic, but walk away with at least 1 to 2 epic shots. Because the reason for that is because, again, the main characters are the bride and the groom. The supporting cast is not just the family and friends. It's also the location and the destination. Or else, why are we going there? Why why they might as well have gotten married in Toronto, right? Or in Calgary, or wherever else. So it's really important to have the mindset of, how can I showcase this destination as a supporting character? How can I feature some things? Maybe take some shots of coconuts or trees, of the beach, just different things, right? Leaves, sunset, sunrises, getting some drone shots of that. That's where sort of the going above and beyond with the value comes into place, because then the client's like, okay, now they're not just doing what they said they had to do. They're actually going a little bit further, and they're doing stuff that actually is telling the story of our wedding day and our love. So anyways, those are just some of my thoughts. If you have more questions, specific questions about some of the things I did, or some of the approaches I took with the images, please hit me up. You can always DM me, or you can ask me the questions in the comments right now below, and I will return your question, or answer your question as soon as I can. Lastly is just quickly, this is more of a fun thing, the Oscars. How did you guys like the Oscars? What you guys think of it? Parasite won Best Film, won Best Foreign Film, and it won Best Director, and I think it won Best Screenplay. That's pretty cool. I never saw or I haven't watched Parasite yet. I'm looking to probably watch it sometime between today and tomorrow. And then also with that, there's one question I had, and I was just really wondering what you guys thought about this. When it comes to the Academy Awards, sometimes they get things really right, and then other times they get things really wrong. Now, I had this sort of interesting dialogue with Arthur, or discussion with Arthur, my cinematographer friend. So Roger Deakins wins cinematography for 1917. Okay, this is the war film about two guys running through, I don't know, it's World War One, I guess, a World War One film. So you have Roger Deakins, who's been nominated for 15 Academy Awards for cinematography, and I think he's won one or two or three. I don't know, but I digress. He wins for cinematography, and the reason why this is kind of cool is because obviously he shoots things beautifully. He captures images beautifully through cinema. But the big thing with 1917 is that there's a sort of continuation of they make it seem like it's one continuous shot when it's like actually a whole bunch of shots stitched together between clever framing and visual effects. But my question was, if you're going to give, generally speaking, when you give somebody the best cinematography award or cinematographer award, it's because you're saying what you're saying is the film was solely dependent or heavily dependent on the cinematography in order to tell the story and to elevate the experience for the parishioner or for the person that was watching the movie. But then, in my opinion, it's like, how can you get best cinematography, which has more to do with a human operator, and at the same time get best special effects? Isn't it a hit to the film if it gets best special effects, because that says, well, they couldn't do a lot of things in camera, therefore they had to do it externally or through a computer generated system. So it's like, in the past, movies have gotten sort of like trumped or have gotten not necessarily beat down, but kind of people have talked down to certain movies because they were heavily reliant on CG or computer generated graphics. And then you have a film that gets best cinematographer, but then you can't, how do you call that best cinematography when all the cinematography was dependent, or it was heavily dependent on the CG connecting it all together for it to be cohesive, for the frames to match, for everything to look the way it's supposed to look, right? So that was my sort of, what didn't make sense to me. So I would love to know your thoughts about 1917 winning best cinematography and best visual effects, as well as your thoughts about Parasite, the movie Parasite. I haven't seen it yet. When I see it, we can do maybe a spoiler video review about that, but I just want to know what your thoughts are on that. And then also, like, the fact that, like, you had like Endgame, Avengers Endgame in the mix in visual effects for nominations. You had Lion King in visual effects nominations. You had some really solid movies in the mix. You had Star Wars in the mix for visual effects, or was nominated for that, and none of those movies won that. And those movies are almost solely dependent on visual effects. And then 1917 wins it. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. It was kind of I don't know. I felt like it was being a little disingenuous. But let me know what your thoughts are. Anyways, that's it for me today. I am super humbled and happy that you guys jumped on board with me and we had a little bit of a conversation. That being said, I would love to hear what your comments and questions are. Also, look out for today's Tip Tuesday video coming out probably in the next hour or so, on my social, on my Instagram and on my LinkedIn and on my Facebook, as well as we're going to have the part 2 or the continuation of my YouTube video from last week, where I was showing you my studio setup for photography or photo headshots. I started out with my wife, I end off with my son. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be coming out tomorrow. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. Stay creative, stay blessed, stay focused. Peace.